All right, let's try this again to see if did I get it right this time. We're going to do a deep dive into with our youth and trying to make sure that we're up and running. So I need to get on here so I can see it says I'm live. Let me see if I can hear myself to my speakers. That we're up and running. So I need. All right, so I'm up and running now. Apologies. Welcome to another episode of Shave and a Haircut. And I am your host, Kenneth Tramble. My wife is Latanya Davis Tramble.
Good evening.
We had some little technical difficulties. I apologize on my behalf. I thought I had everything set up and everything was running and raring to go. And I think we are, and I think we're up and we're running and roll. So thank you guys for being patient and giving me the opportunity to grace y'all presence. Also, go like and share my page. Go to my YouTube channel, Shave and a Haircut, and like and share that page and subscribe to my channel so I can continue to do what I do. It's at the bottom of the screen right there. That's how it looks on the YouTube channel. So I need you guys to like, share, like it and share it. Get on here so I can see it says like and share it. So as I was saying, I had an opportunity to speak to the kids at a local school. Like and share it. You found it? At a local school. And the subject of gun violence came out. And we had a I guess what I would call an open-end conversation where I allowed the kids to speak freely. And I found out some things that worried me a little bit, about our kids. And these are 7th and 8th grades, and I'm sitting there listening to them talk, listening to them say things, and the way they are. I'm guessing the way they're trained of thinking is puzzling. And it really has me nervous as a law enforcement officer and as a person in the community. It was like scary to hear them say the things that these are 7th and 8th graders, and they were being honest, and they were telling me exactly, why they went to this for anything else. And majority of them always said that one thing, it was just because of nowadays things can be multiplied by this thing right here, and that's what they're looking at. So our youth are doing some things that you never thought about. I brought a question to one of the kids. I was like, I said, say me and him got into a fight, and I don't know. I said it was a draw. He said it's never a draw when you have a fight. Either you win or you lose. I said, well, what if we both got the best of each other and then we just got tired? He said it's never a draw. He said, until I win, it's not over. And I was like, that don't make any sense. Because if y'all can recall when we were growing up, that, it wasn't no such thing as that kind of stuff that's going on now. And the way he was talking to me, he was dead serious. I mean, he was set on saying that it's never over. So I threw another scenario, and I was like, man, look, okay, say me and you get into a fight, and 6 months down the line, you see me. Why you still want to fight? He said, it's the principle of the thing. I said, over a fight? And I was adamant. I kept saying, over a fight? He said, yes. And I'm like, you mean to tell me if me and you got into a fight, and I didn't forgot about you. I didn't went on by my business. I'm just walking in the mall, minding my business. You see me. You gonna pick up 6 months ago? He said, yes. He says the principle of the thing. He said something about standing on business. I don't know what that means, but he said, I'm standing on business. There's no way it's going to ever be over with. And so now we got to have a conversation with our kids, because that's confusing. How is it that a fight commences, it's over with? Then I even said it further. I said, okay, what if it was just me and you and nobody saw anything? He still said no. I said, you mean to tell me there was no phones around? It's me and you. We get into a fight. The fight's over. And he said, no, it's just the principle of the thing. That is actually scary. That is nerve-wracking. That I don't know why our kids are thinking that way. I don't know if it's the music genre they're listening to. I don't know what's going on. But this is different. We're in different uncharted waters as parents. You know, I'm trying my best. I'm throwing everything at them that I can throw at them to see what anything that I can make click. I even gave him a scenario. I said, well, man, okay, say you win the fight, we lose the fight, and you end up you shooting and you kill me. And I said, well, you do realize that even though you killed me, it ain't over, right? He's like, what you mean? So I gave him a scenario. I said, okay, since you in jail, I can't get you, but you got a little sister. So I can get your little sister. He was like, that ain't how it works. I said, that's how the game is now. I said, you don't understand that because these kids, the way they doing stuff now, and the way they doing things now, it's never over. And I try to get him to see that, and then see him to realize that when you get into an altercation, it's never over. So what we need to do now is what? Try to avoid getting into altercation. I'm a firm believer that once this thing comes out, I've never seen a person pull this out in the neighborhood or heard about a person pull this out and say, okay, man, my bad, and put it up. No. Once they bring this out, now you got to do something now because your reputation's on the line. So we got to stop bringing this out first. We got to start using our mind and stop getting into the fights and into the altercations, but we even have to use these things, okay? So I did a PowerPoint presentation, and it's going to be some slides so you're going to see up here. Now, I used that right there. You said gun violence, dealing with juvenile gun violence, and it says Black Lives Matter. I just used that, but everybody understands that, you know, the only reason I did that because who are dying at a higher rate? And everybody says all lives matter, true enough, but we are losing our lives quicker than I don't think I've seen any drive-bys done by whites in Monroe. I might be wrong, but I don't think I've never seen a drive-by being done by somebody of a European color. It's always us. It's always us in the neighborhoods. It's always us on the street. Always up there. Now, as far as that happening in schools, like school shootings, that's different. I'm talking about your neighbor. We're talking about trying to take care of our kids in our community, okay? So we're going to start with the slide. Slide number 1 talks about the definition of gun violence.
Behind you.
So we're going to talk about the definition of gun violence.
Okay. Definition of gun violence. Gun violence refers to the unlawful use of firearms to inflict harm or intimidate others. It includes homicides, assaults, suicides, and accidental shooting, posing significant public health and safety challenges.
So, as you see, you know, the definition of gun violence is pretty self-explanatory. It tells you exactly what happens and when you use it and what happens with it. And so we have to understand that we as a community, we need to try to enlighten and educate our kids on gun violence and on what's going on with gun violence and what happens when you use this said gun to inflict harm on anybody. So now I'm going to get you, like, it's one thing about some of the slides that I do, a lot of stuff, all these stats, they show these stats. We go to these conferences and we go to these seminars, and you have folks that, you know, they talk about the stats, what's happening in your community, and they harp on them stats. They really, really harp on them stats in the community. They talk about it, and they base it. When I told those kids at that school, this is why you don't have any growth in your community based off your violence in your community. You don't have any new stuff coming up, you know, in the neighborhood down the street from where you at. Because the first thing a person does when he comes to try to move to Monroe, Louisiana, he's gonna pull that thing called stats. He's gonna pull the value. He's gonna see what kind of violence you got going on. Schools. He's gonna pull and see what your education look like, because I'm not gonna bring him $30 million industry to Monroe if your grade level of every school is D and below, because that means I can't get any pull from the community for people to work for. So I make that as well. So these are stats that are being used throughout the state. See it?
Yep. Statistics on gun violence. According to the CDC, over 39,000 gun-related deaths occur annually in the United States, with more than half being suicides. The youth demographic is notably affected, accounting for 3,000 deaths and 15,000 injuries every year.
Now, you see the number. It says 39,000 related deaths occur annually in the United States. Then it goes to the youth demographic and says effective counting of 3,000 deaths and 15,000 injuries every year.
Every year.
So who's getting killed, ladies and gentlemen? Who's losing their lives?
We are.
Our kids at a high rate, and I don't understand why we're doing this. I'm hoping every parent that gets on this podcast sits down and have a conversation with your child. Put them in a scenario and see how they act. Push their buttons and see how mad they get, so you can see what you need to tell them. Hey, you can't behave that way no more, because out there in these streets, they playing for death. They ain't playing for life. They playing for keeps. They're out there, and their mindset is to make sure that they create havoc wherever they go. And if we don't have a conversation with our kids and explain to them the importance of knowing your friends, for one, knowing who you hang with. That's one of the most. We had that conversation at the school. Knowing who your friends are. We had a kid at a job that I used to work at, was outside. Matter of fact, his friend had just did a drive, I think 3 days ago, over on the other side of town. He comes to that, his friend, I think that was his cousin. Yeah, it was his cousin, to his cousin's house. They standing outside, you know. He hadn't told his cousin, hey man, I just went over there in Boogerville, and just shot somebody. He's just standing out there talking. So somehow or another, I guess the guys got word that he was over there. So they drove over there. And instead of hitting him, hit the cousin and have nothing to do with it. Now, I don't know if he knew that his cousin did it. We probably didn't. But you have to know your friends. If your friend gets in the car or comes to your house and he got this on him already, you might as well go on and tell, hey man, look, that's not my ride. But if you pick him up in your car and he has it on him, you need to put him out. Hey man, you need to take that back to your house, in your house or something, or else I can't take you to the store. You can't ride with me. Please know your friends. All right, types of gun violence.
Yes, gun violence manifests in various forms, including mass shootings, gang-related incidents, domestic violence, and self-inflicted injuries. Each type carries its own risk factors and implications for victims and communities.
Okay, you got your types right there. You got your mass shootings, your gang-related incidents, domestic violence, and self-inflicted injuries. Now, all those fall in different categories. All those fall in different things I could talk about. Because we know we got our mass shooters, and we got folks that just, I don't know what's going on with them, and they just decide they want to go. But the thing about mass shooters, I tell everybody this, that somewhere along that line, that he or she have gave somebody some signs they got some mental problems. We try. I don't know why we ignore it. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have. If you see that, hey, June bugs don't look the same, or June bugs start talking crazy, you might need to let somebody know something going on with June bug, because June bug got some issues. We don't do that. We wait. We say, oh man, I didn't think he was gonna really do that. Mm-hmm. It's too late.
And he done told you.
Okay, he's giving you signs. He's doing things. He's behaving in certain ways. You know, he's talking crazy. I don't know. He just something's off, and you know it's off. I have never, even when I watch TV and listen to some of the parents and some people say those signs have been there and they ignored them. Even in the school system, some students have heard people talk a certain way and they ignored it. You have to tell it. Gang-related incidents. We know about that. We know about that in Monroe. But is that still saying that if you know your friends in a gang, don't go with him nowhere? If you know your friend wearing certain colors and those colors resemble gang members, you might not want to go with that person. You might not want to go with that person. Okay? Self-inflicted injury. Well, we know what that is. That when you playing with your mom and dad's gun, that means need to be safety for us to put stuff up as parents. So I want our youth and our parents to understand that we need to make some changes in the things that we do. We need to make some changes in the way we things go around our house. And I understand that our kids, man, they really, I don't know if they are crying for help or looking for help, but there's things that are going on that we need to make sure that we are aware of as parents. We got to make sure that our kids understand that they can come to us for anything, no matter what goes on, that they're part of our lives, and all this violence that's going on, that's going on in our community. It has to stop. Somewhere along the line, it's got to stop. We got.
I can't see that one.
We got to stop. Okay. So causes of gun violence. Key factors contributing to gun violence includes. What's that?
I can't see it.
You say you can't see that one?
No,
okay.
It's blurred.
All right. Let's go to the next one then, since you can't see it. All right. So we have our youth, man. I don't get it, and I don't know what we need to do, what needs to happen. Like I said, when we talk to the kids at the school, they're all about that life and acting and behaving in certain ways where they just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
It's blurred.
I don't know. And so what's going on with the incident and those kids, I don't know what they're doing, what they're saying, what's being transpired or transposed in their lives. But we're going to have to have a conversation, all right? Trends in juvenile gun violence. In recent years, juvenile gun violence has seen alarming increase with 40% rise in incidents reported. Factors contributing to the trend include social media, influenced gang activity, and heightened access to firearms amongst our youth. Now, social media. So we had a conversation about social media as well, and they said the same thing. You know, they watch those rappers and they're sitting there with those guns and portraying folks that, and some of them probably, if you do some research, some of them probably lived their life and done some violence. But social media, we have to make sure that our kids, they're watching what they're watching and making sure they are understanding that sometimes that stuff that's going on is not real, right? And then getting close to having those firearms is real nerve-wracking. You know, they got access to. I've seen kids with guns I don't have, you know, and if I do have it, it's locked up, and they're walking around with it. I mean, even the incident that happened in Heva Sports, I don't know if you saw the young man with the gun, but I could tell by the way he was walking that he had the gun on, and you know, I don't understand where they're getting these things from. I don't understand where they're using them, and you know, I don't know. It's got to be somebody in the community is doing something. Somebody's selling something to these kids, because there's no way that a 13, 14-year-old could walk around with an AK-47 or an AR-15, and he don't even have a license to even buy it. So, as like I said in one of my previous podcasts, is somebody's got to know who's selling those guns. Just like I told y'all about the candy store when we grew up. Everybody knew who the candy lady was in the neighborhood. The whole neighborhood knew who she was, he or she. So the whole neighborhood should know who's selling those guns to these kids. And y'all are talking about the no snitching clause and stuff. Let me tell you, wait till it happens to your child or your baby. You don't want everybody to talk. You want everybody to say, hey, I saw what happened. You're going to have to stand up for your community and stand up for your kids. Demographics have involved youth.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
Okay. The majority of juvenile gun violence perpetrators are males aged 15 to 24, often from urban communities. Racial disparities are evident with African Americans and Latino youth disproportionately affected.
All right. So ages 15 to 24. So that's like the kids that's walking down the street right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, them the ones that you see standing out on the corner, the ones that walk up and down the street through all day and it's about half the night, 15 to 24. And they are African American. So my question to every parent that's got a youth, why is your kid out past those hours?
Because mom and dad are probably out past those hours.
Okay, what I'm gonna say no sometimes. Sometimes the kids sneak out, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you got some kids that just think they're grown, because a lot of times, you know, I always tell a parent, you know, I don't understand why they wait till they get about 11 and 12 and try discipline. Once you get to that point and they didn't got away with so much stuff, that is why most of the kids run away, because they have no structure. And, you know, I said I was at the school the other day, and I was at elementary school, and they sent an elementary kid to alternative school. Elementary, that's unheard of when we was growing up. Mama put them so-called healing hands on you, and the next day you were back at school. So we got to get back to that, you know, back to that discipline that those kids needed. They need it. They need it. Because if it don't, one thing going up, I can guarantee there's gonna be somebody that's in jail that's gonna tell them what to do. You're gonna have that guard that wake them up at 3 o'clock in the morning for lunch. For breakfast, 3 o'clock breakfast. I think it's 11 o'clock lunch. I think it's 4 o'clock dinner. That's it. And trust me, it ain't no Applebee's. It ain't no Chick-fil-A. It ain't no Partners. It ain't none of them fast foods. It's beans. And so we got maybe we you know, tell them that kind of those stories and show them that, you know, those things happen. Maybe those kids would understand. Impact on our communities.
Juvenile gun violence negatively impacts community safety, leading to increased fear, economic decline, and breakdown of social cohesion. Victims and witnesses often face long-term psychological effects, perpetrating cycles of violence.
See, I said that earlier. That's what I told those kids earlier. the first part that says leading to increased fear, economic decline. That's when the people don't want to come and put businesses at your location. That's when the folks
that woman broke into.
Yeah, that and they also understand that fear of getting robbed. They also understand that you're not going to get the high income, high clientele. If you put a hotel down by Richwood High School, you'll probably get some of the truckers that's coming through, but you wouldn't get that high end type of person because of fear of what's going on around the community. Coming outside to the car, getting robbed, getting hurt, getting murdered, all kinds of stuff, all because of the way we're behaving. And like I tell y'all, those stats, man, those stats are something. That's the first thing a person does when they come to Monroe or when they come to West Monroe. That's what happens. They look at those stats. And then they say, okay, well, it's not safe to build here. Maybe we need to go a little farther north and build down there.
And you know what? That applies to everything. When you're buying homes,
yes,
sending your kids to school,
mm-hmm.
You research that.
That's it. That's right. Just like she said, it does. It does. And you're gonna want to, we are blessed to have 2 state championship teams on the south side of town.
Woo-woo.
2 state championship teams on the south side of town. But have you heard anything about it? They was on the news. I think, the only people that's really praising them is the alumni and the teachers that are there. That should be something worth celebrating for a couple of. Then you got the girls that won 4 in a row.
Lord.
So this is you don't see anybody out here saying, hey, let's because you know why? They scared that if they say, okay, this is my opinion, I don't know, they're probably nervous that if they put these schools together, somebody that don't have nothing to do with the celebration gonna come over there and disrupt it. They're scared of that. And that's the problem. The impact on communities.
All right. Juvenile gun violence negatively impacts community safety, leading to increased fear, economic decline, and a breakdown of social cohesions. Victims and witnesses often, ain't that I just read that?
I want you to read it again.
Face long-term psychological effects, perpetrating cycles of violence.
I want her to read that again because I want that to sink in. I need that to sink in on everybody that's on this podcast. Matter of fact, screenshot that with your phone and hashtag that and send that out. Because that is what really shapes our community. Right there. That is why you don't have the $1 million homes and stuff like that, because people don't want to do it because of that. We gotta do it. We got to make sure. We got to make sure that our kids see this and understand that what they're doing affects the whole entire city. Predominantly the south side of town, because you're not going to get anything on there but sidewalks, what you got so far. Case studies.
Case studies such as the shootings in Chicago and Los Angeles illustrate the devastating effects of juvenile gun violence. These cases reveal common patterns and inform effective strategies for intervention and prevention. So
that goes back to what I tell you. You got folks that don't that don't live where you live, and they come down here and they pull those stats, they pull the murder rate, they pull the age of the people that done the murder, they pull the color, and they get up and they do what we call a case study. Okay. This is why I'm trying to get our youth to understand you. While you out here on this corner thinking that the colors you got on or whatever you wearing with these, like nowadays I see now these youngsters walk around with these ski masks on. You know, I'm telling them that's recipe for danger. All that is if I'm driving down the road and I'm looking for a place to build, that's the first thing I'm gonna think about.
Or a place to live.
Yeah, for a place to live. Or what if I won millions of dollars and I say, okay, I want to give back to the community and I want to put a state-of-the-art recreation center here with baseball. I have baseball, football, basketball all out there in one community, one setting, video games, computer access computers, and I'm driving down the street and I see a nice little field with a for sale sign on. I'm like, oh, this is like a nice location. Then 5 minutes later, here you come with a ski mask on, or you and your homeboy riding by. Y'all are impacting people, impacting the community worse than what y'all think it is. Community intervention.
All right. Community-based programs that engage youth in constructive activities can significantly reduce gun violence. Examples include mentorship programs and recreational incentives that offer safe spaces and foster relationships between youth and adults.
Absolutely. All that is programs that are out there to try to help our kids. We back in the day, we used to take kids to Angola. And I used to take them to Angola not to scare them. I used to take them over there so they can see what happens. So most of the people we run into in Angola, they made one mistake. Just one. Just one mistake and their whole life has changed. And so that's what I try to do when I do those certain things. I take them out there, try to paint a picture. I'm not trying to scare them. There's always one guy that always shared that one story that I've never forgot. And it was senior skip day. And he skipped school with some friends. That them friends again. Skipped school with some friends. And some friends said, hey, man, Mr. Johnson, I'm just making up a name. Mr. Johnson got some nice jewelry and stuff in his house. And let's go over there. Now, the straight A student that's in this scenario, mind didn't click and say, hey, man, no, bro, I got plans. He didn't. He went with them. They go and break in the house, and lo and behold, the young lady was there because she was a senior, she skipped. And so they took her life instead of just, hey, I could have just took that burglary charge and, oh, man, Mike wouldn't have did nothing. So now you got a murder charge. So he didn't have for the rest of his life. And then what was crazy about it, this is what he said, and I think that really opened everybody's eyes. 2 years later, well, no, he went in there when he was 15, 16. Yeah, 18, 2 years later, field trip comes along. That's his teacher, bringing a group of kids in. And so the teacher was in the corner crying as he was giving his story. And he had plumb forgot who she was. And that was his teacher, that he told her that he would never be in trouble. Never. As a matter of fact, he had come on a trip 2 years prior with that teacher to Angola. He'll never come here. All because he got in the car with a friend. And I always tell y'all, know your friends, and your friend got him into something he couldn't get out of. So, know your friends, man. Young men and young ladies, know your friend. That go for young ladies too. Young ladies go to jail just as well. Don't think y'all are exempt from this. I've seen ladies, it's been a ramp up of you young ladies acting a fool, fighting and being disrespectful as well. So y'all, it goes for y'all too. Policies and recommendations. Implementing stricter gun control measures such as background checks and age restriction is essential to migrate juvenile access to firearms. These policies help ensure that guns do not fall into the hands of youth. And so those things are things that are coming out that our kids are not I don't know. I don't know what they're not getting it. They're not, it's not registering in their minds. So I need our parents to sit down and have a conversation with them. Because apparently whatever we saying is not working. Whatever is going on in the school system is not working. And now it's to the point now that they don't have time to teach. So what they're gonna do now, if you're acting a fool, doing violence and stuff, they're gonna move you on.
Yeah, so they don't have to deal.
They're gonna move you on. School programs.
I can see that. Schools can adopt programs that educate students about the dangers of gun violence and conflict resolution techniques. Implementing peer mediation programs can empower students to resolve disputes peacefully.
That's what we're doing right now. Conflict resolution. We got to get our kids to understand that before this comes out, we got to understand that before this comes out, I don't know. There's always signs. There's always things that we're going to see that our kids need to be aware of, that when these things happen, when a person tells you, I'll be right back, stay right there. That's one. But let's find out before we even get to this. What made us even get to gun violence? What happened? Was it over a girl?
Usually.
Was it over a neighborhood? Was it just because you want to prove yourself to some gang members? We gotta let our kids understand it's nothing wrong with walking away. It's nothing wrong with somebody saying something crazy. I always tell a kid, man, when I see a kid on the hallway, he talk about my mom. Do you know your mama? No. Well, why are you acting a fool? Let's understand that we got to understand that we can't let this happen. You can't let the nitpicking go on that allows you to act a fool, go to the house, bring this back, and hurt somebody. Because 9 times out of 10, I've noticed, I tell you about this thing. I tell everybody this, you guys are not well trained in this. You ain't been to no class, you haven't been to nothing. You just grab it and you just start shooting. There's not, I told the kids that at the school, there's not a reset button on this here. You can't shoot it and unplug the TV and say, oh, game over. You can't do that. And so that God is not out there grabbing bullets out the sky.
Okay, I'll call you back.
He's not out there doing that. So once this trigger is squeezed and pulls, your life is different. It will never be the same. So before you go to this, and you're on your way to the house, and your mind is to go get this, you might need to think about, okay, what I'm gonna do? Okay, if I do this, what's gonna happen to me?
Yeah.
If I do this, what's gonna happen to my family? If I do this, how am I gonna affect the other family? I had one young man lay on the ground at that school and simulate he's been shot. So I put the mic to his mouth. So what are you thinking? I ain't never see my mom again. That's one of the things he said. I won't see my little brothers again. That's another thing he said. I should have just walked away. That's another thing he said. It wasn't worth it. That was another thing he said. This is what he was saying laying on the ground. And it wasn't scripted. I didn't tell him to say it. I said, look, what would you say? I said, lay on the ground. You've been shot. Okay. And then I had something. And what I had the music playing a heartbeat, and it was getting slower and slower. I told him, just keep talking until it stopped beating. And so he just kept talking. He kept saying stuff and I was like, huh. And then the young man started listening to what he was saying. I said, I want y'all to pay attention to what he's saying, because now it's impacting their minds. Now it's got them thinking, okay, I'm not going to see my mom anymore. I'm not going to see my little sisters anymore. I shouldn't have done what I did. Why did he shoot me? He was saying all kinds of stuff. And when he finally went beep, and the kid got quiet. That's the type of scenario we need to put our kids in. Start putting them like that. Let them understand that this is what it sounds like when your heart is beating, and sometimes it's beating fast because you about to go there and start slowing down. Or sometimes you don't get a chance for it to beat. You just fall right there. And so those are scenarios that I do at that local school. So if you want me to come out, guys, just look me up on Facebook and inbox me, and we'll have a conversation that way. Parental guidance.
Parental involvement is vital in preventing juvenile gun violence. Parents should be educated about secure firearms storage practices and engage in open conversation about the consequences of gun misuse.
Well, that's exactly what I just said.
It is.
Exactly what I just said. So that's exactly what I just said. You have to educate our kids. Matter of fact, they don't even need it. They shouldn't get no guns until they get about 20-something years old, me personally. And unless you're a hunter. If you're a hunter, well, y'all out there in the woods. But I'm talking about in the community. It's too dangerous out there. Research needs.
There is a critical need for comprehensive research on the root cause of juvenile gun violence. Understanding factors such as social, economic conditions, mental health, and family dynamics can provide insight that informs targeted interventions.
So, do you guys believe that gun violence is hereditary? If say my brother was a gang member, I should be a gang member. Do you think that's hereditary, or do you just think it is what it is? Because some folks do that because of their brothers were big time gang members or big time drug dealers, whatever, and they follow in their footsteps. So that means we as parents, if you got a older son that's dipping and dabbling in that kind of stuff, it's time you start putting you already got to separate that from you and your child.
Yeah, break the cycle.
Okay. Legislative actions.
Effective legislative measures are essential in curbing juvenile gun violence. Policies should focus on stricter gun control, age restrictions for gun purchases, and penalties for illegal possession.
Okay. Well, in the state of Louisiana, you can tow the gun now at 18. So that doesn't apply to us anymore. So you can tow the gun. But like I tell everybody, that's so crazy to be able to tow the gun, but I can't buy alcohol. I can't buy alcohol at 18, but I can tow the gun. Don't make no sense. That old saying that me and Mr. Ramon King said, that math not mathing.
That's right.
How is it you can tow the gun, but you can't buy alcohol or cigarettes? But you can tow the gun, but you can't buy tobacco, but you can tow the gun. I don't understand it. Role of the media.
Media plays a pivotal role in shaping public perception of gun violence. Responsibility reporting and awareness campaigns can help highlight the issue and drive community involvement in prevention efforts. So,
if the community media gets involved, what do you think going to happen? It should shine a lot of light on what's going on. But I don't want the media to come when the violence happens. We need to do some stories about some people that's doing stuff positive in the community and starting to get those people tagged in or put in with other organizations where they can impact the community as a whole. We got a bunch of fraternities, a bunch of sororities. They're all out there doing good work.
Mm-hmm.
All out there doing good work. Well, just imagine if everybody to say, hey man, one day let's have a weekend long or Saturday where all the fraternities, sororities, organizations get together and have a conversation, and let's get some kids together and do some things. My guy, he's a cute dog. I can't think what his name is. I'm one of his balls in the mentor program. He does fishing with fathers, and that's a good event. It's well represented by his organization, and be a ton of kids out there. And so that's something that we should try. I've always tried to do. I want to try to one time to get a group of kids out there for a round of golf. What I mean by that is it's 18 holes in golf. So it's going to be the 18 holes of life that I'm going to teach them, from being 1 year old all the way to 18-year-old. It's going to start off easy because you're going to be putting. You're just going to be putting it in the hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time you get to 8 years old, then it's going to start getting tough in life. That's when we're going to be at the longer holes with the hills and the curves that you got to read the green. Same thing with life. That's it. And that's what I want to accomplish with a group of kids. I want to take them out there. It's called the 18 Holes of Life. And I'm going to do a PowerPoint on that as well so the kids, you'll understand what I mean. Collaborating with law enforcement.
Strategic collaboration between communities and law enforcement can enhance the effectiveness of prevention programs. Incentives like community policing foster trust and encouraging youth to engage in positive activities away from firearms.
That's it. I don't know. I mean, have a day where you just, have a day in the park where you just law enforcement out there and we just talking. You throw the football around, basketball, or just have a conversation in the park. Do a picnic. Do something. Don't. Now, we're not talking about doing it for, just because you want to get some, votes, or I'm talking about continuously doing stuff. Not just doing it because somebody asked you to do it. Do it out of the kindness of your heart. That's why I say being a mentor, it's got to be in you. You can't make nobody do stuff because it looks fake. You can tell somebody when it looks fake. When it's genuine, it's genuine. It's big time genuine. And so I want you guys to understand that when you're doing stuff like that, okay? Let's see. We got in it. 5 pounds of pressure can change your life forever. That's right, Ramon. You're absolutely right. It can change your life forever. And I'm understanding. I'm kind of worried about what route we're going as our youth. I'm kind of worried about the answers that were given to me at the 7th and 8th grade. It's nerve-wracking for them to say, okay, well, I gotta get mine back. I gotta get my one, as they say. That's what they call it, trying to get my one. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And Ms. Bowie says maybe it's a family curse. It could be, but it can't. But you can change that. You can change that curse. We just gotta as a community buckle up the scrap, buckle up the boots, and say, look, you know what? It's time for us to do some things. Like I was telling with me and Miss Ramon, we come back from Shreveport and doing something in Shreveport for our church, and it's so much things that we can do, so many people that we can impact in that community, the town, and country. They're starving for some programs, and they're looking for people to come in and do some things with these kids. And we're on the cusp of doing some things. We're about to do some things that you guys gonna be like, okay, now we see what y'all working with. But it's gonna take some of you people in the community as well. You're gonna have to buckle your scraps and boots down too, because your kids are now at a point, like I tell everybody, they're at a point where things are changing, and it's getting harder and harder for our kids to make it. And they're changing the education status of our kids as well. So it's going to be some changes in that. So we're going to have to buckle down as parents and get the job done. And I believe we can do it. I know we can do it. I know we can make things happen. That PowerPoint that you guys seen, I have it as well. So you can feel free to, if you want to I don't know if you can get it off of that Facebook page, but I do have it, and I do present it at other schools. I present it in community centers. I present it in churches. I present it anywhere. You know, I just want to make sure that our kids understand that we can make changes and we can do some things. So, as always, in closing, I tell you this, like Mr. Rowan said something. He says, that it's not wise. Read that.
That's not wise. You got to realize your life was spared for a reason, young person. Your one back 9 times out of 10 may be your last back.
That's it. That's right. You're right, man. I'm telling you, you hitting the nail. But that's what I'm saying, Ramon. Like when I went to that school, and those kids, man, they were interactive. But what they were saying really worried me. They were adamant. You know, after 6 months after the fight, they were adamant they still got to get their little one back. And even after I told them the scenario, even after I told them the consequences of, you know, if you get me, that means I got to get your kid, I can get your sister, I can get your brother. I even catch your mama coming out the store. It still didn't register to them the consequences of their behavior. Even after I told them that, you know what your mama had done anything to me whatsoever, but you done shot and killed me. And my brother said, okay, there his mama is right there. I gotta get him, I'm gonna get his mama. And it didn't make a difference to him, you know. It didn't dawn on them that you putting your whole family in danger by you acting and behaving the way you behaving. It didn't dawn on them like that. And they really gotta listen. And so I, you know, that old saying, can't stop when I won't stop until they understand what I mean by that. So I'm like LeBron, I'm gonna take my titles on the road. I'm gonna make sure that everybody sees this and everybody understands that your life worth saving, man. I mean, you know, there's no way that we should have that many deaths of our youth. I mean, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna probably start when we really started this gun violence, probably in 2012, maybe. When it started acting bad, maybe. I'm gonna go all the way back to 2012 and research on how many kids we lost in 2012 to now. I'm talking about senseless shooting. I'm not talking about like somebody getting shot. You know, I mean, we didn't have so many homicides. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can probably get by at least 300 to 400 or even more. So I'm gonna do that research after that. And then I'm gonna see what it says. I'm gonna put that up there so the parents can see, and maybe the parents, and maybe it'll ring a bell so these parents be more concerned about what's going on with their kids. I'm not saying you're not doing it, parents, but we got to do it together. So, in closing, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Shave and Haircut. I'm your host, Kim Tramble. My co-host, LaTanya Davis Tramble.
Good evening.
We're going to sign off. And I'm going to tell you this. Listen to your kids at day. Listen to them at night. Listen to them in the morning. Make sure their future becomes bright. Let them understand that their life is worth saving. And don't let where they come from dictate where they go in life. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like and share my page on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in about 2 weeks.